The Minnesota Vikings might be the most unpredictable team in the NFL right now, and it all starts at the very top with their coaching staff. Kevin O'Connell has quietly put together one of the best resumes in football. His 36-18 record looks impressive enough, but what's truly jaw-dropping is his dominance in close games. With nearly a 70% win rate in one-score situations, no active head coach is doing it better. Every time the Vikings are in a nail-biter, O'Connell seems to find a way. But as good as that sounds, there's always the question, can this magic hold up against the toughest teams in the league? Stick around, because the answer may surprise you. Now, O'Connell isn't just a game manager. He's the architect of Minnesota's offense. This is a McVay-inspired West Coast system, but with O'Connell's own twist. The Vikings keep defenses guessing with creative run designs and layered passing concepts. Week after week, it feels like this offense has another trick ready to go. But here's the catch. Even the most creative offenses can get punched in the mouth when defenses figure them out. So, will O'Connell's play calling stay one step ahead, or are defenses starting to catch on? Before we break down the other side of the ball, make sure you hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. It helps us bring you more NFL breakdowns every single week, and you won't want to miss what's coming next. Because when we flip to the defense, it's a whole different story. Brian Flores has brought organized chaos to Minnesota. His scheme thrives on disguises, rotations, and pressure from everywhere. It's modern, it's aggressive, and it's overwhelming for unprepared quarterbacks. But here's the cliffhanger. Will Flores' chaos rattle the Steelers this week, or could it backfire in the biggest moments? The Minnesota Vikings have already taken fans on a roller coaster ride just 3 weeks into the season, and every game has told a different story. In Week 1, they opened the year under the bright lights of Monday Night Football against the Chicago Bears. It came down to the wire, but Minnesota pulled off a thrilling 27-24 victory. That win set the tone, showing this team can handle high-pressure moments. But the question immediately followed. Could they maintain that momentum? Week 2 gave us the answer, and it wasn't what Vikings fans were hoping for. Back at home against the Atlanta Falcons, rookie quarterback J.J. McCarthy had one of the toughest games of his young career. The offense sputtered, the rhythm was gone, and the Vikings fell flat in a 22-6 loss. It raised serious concerns about whether this team could stay consistent from week to week. But as shaky as that performance was, it set the stage for something even more dramatic. Because in Week 3, everything flipped. Carson Wentz made his Vikings debut against the Cincinnati Bengals, and Minnesota put on an absolute clinic. The final score? 48-10. The offense clicked, the defense dominated, and Rodgers made history with the first-ever perfect 99 grade from Pro Football Focus in a single game. That type of performance sent a message across the league. This team, when it's firing on all cylinders, is as dangerous as anyone. But now comes the real test. Was Week 3 a turning point, or just another high on this team's up-and-down ride? The heart of any NFL team comes down to the roster, and for the Minnesota Vikings, it starts at quarterback. Right now, Carson Wentz is steering the ship after J.J. McCarthy went down with an injury. Wentz brings veteran experience, a strong arm, and a fearless style of play. But with that comes the big question. Can he protect the football and stay consistent enough to keep this offense rolling? Protecting Wentz is a line that has both strengths and weaknesses. On the outside, Christian Darrisaw and Brian O'Neill form one of the better tackle duos in the league. They're athletic, reliable, and capable of handling elite pass rushers. But the interior of this offensive line tells a different story. It's been shaky, vulnerable to pressure, and that soft spot could become a serious problem against teams that love to attack the middle. The question is clear. Will the strength at tackle be enough to mask the weakness inside? Of course, no breakdown of the Vikings would be complete without mentioning their weapons. Justin Jefferson remains the face of the franchise, one of the most unstoppable wideouts in the game. Jordan Addison returns from suspension and adds another explosive threat on the outside. Veteran Adam Thielen brings reliable hands and route running, while Mason in the backfield gives this team balance on the ground. And then there's T.J. Hawkinson, the safety blanket tight end who keeps the chains moving. Put it all together, and this is an offense that can light up the scoreboard. But here's the big storyline. Can all these stars click at the same time, or will inconsistency keep holding them back? Defense wins championships, and for the Minnesota Vikings, the pieces in place show exactly why this group can be dangerous. Let's start with the edge rushers, Jonathan Greenard and Andrew Van Ginkel. Greenard is the power guy who sets the edge and disrupts the pocket, while Van Ginkel brings speed and hustle from the opposite side. Together, they form a duo that can cause serious problems for quarterbacks trying to buy time. The hook here? If these two heat up, it changes everything for the Vikings defense. Inside, the defensive line features heavy hitters. Jonathan Allen is the anchor, a disruptive force at defensive tackle. Next to him, young Jalen Redmond is carving out his role, while veteran Javon Hargrave locks down the nose tackle spot. This trio gives Minnesota both strength against the run and push up the middle on passing downs. But here's the catch. If opposing offensive lines can't handle that interior, the Vikings defense becomes nearly unstoppable. At linebacker, it's a mix of speed and experience. Ivan Pace Jr. may not have prototypical size, but he makes up for it with relentless blitzing ability and instinct. Alongside him, Eric Wilson provides steady, reliable play. Together, they keep the second level of this defense active and aggressive. And here's the question. Can their energy hold up when facing high-powered offenses week after week? Finally, the secondary brings balance and versatility. Byron Murphy and Isaiah Rodgers handle corner duties, combining physicality with coverage skills. Harrison Smith and Josh Jackson give veteran stability at safety, while Josh Metellus works as a wild card in the nickel role. That flexibility is what makes this secondary so intriguing. And the big hook? If Metellus thrives as the X factor, this could be one of the most underrated defensive backfields in the NFL. For the Pittsburgh Steelers, the path to victory starts with one mission: make Carson Wentz uncomfortable. He's talented, but when pressure is in his face, mistakes follow. Disguising coverages and mixing up blitz looks will be critical to forcing bad decisions. The hook here? If Wentz is forced into guessing, turnovers could swing this game fast. The next focus is the offensive line, and there's a clear weak spot: Blake Brandel. Targeting him with stunts, twists, and extra heat will test Minnesota's protection. The Steelers' front seven loves to exploit these cracks, and this is their best chance to collapse the pocket consistently. But here's the kicker. If Brandel can't hold up, it could be a long night for Wentz and the Vikings offense. One of the most exciting matchups is Cam Hayward versus Brandel. Hayward's power, technique, and relentless motor make him a nightmare for linemen who struggle with leverage. If Hayward controls this battle, it's not just about sacks. It's about shutting down Minnesota's run game before it even gets started. And the hook? Whoever wins this one-on-one could very well decide the outcome. Of course, the Steelers can't only focus on the trenches. Limiting explosive plays from Justin Jefferson and Jordan Addison is absolutely essential. These two can turn a routine throw into a game-changing score. Keeping safeties disciplined and corners locked in will be the only way to prevent Minnesota from flipping momentum with one big strike. The question: can Pittsburgh contain them for all four quarters? Finally, the defense must force Wentz into long, grinding drives. The more plays it takes, the higher the chance he slips up. If the Steelers can keep everything in front of them and wait for mistakes, the turnovers will come. And the hook? If Pittsburgh executes this plan, their defense alone could carry them to victory. For the Steelers' offense, the game plan is clear: beat man coverage early and set the tone. Using bunch formations and rub routes is the best way to create separation, especially for speedy wideout Calvin Austin III. His quickness can punish tight coverage if given the right looks. The hook? If Austin breaks free early, it forces the Vikings to adjust their entire defensive approach. Next comes the ground attack, which has been inconsistent so far. But this matchup offers an opportunity. Minnesota's defensive line is lighter inside, and their linebackers don't have elite size. That means Najee Harris and Jalen Warren could find running lanes if the blocking holds up. The question is, can Pittsburgh stay committed to the run even if it doesn't click right away? That patience could pay off big later in the game. Another key is attacking the middle of the field, especially against Brian Flores' five-man pressure looks. When defenses send extra heat, they leave that space wide open. Hitting quick slants, digs, and crossers can punish Minnesota for being aggressive. And the hook here? If Pittsburgh times it right, those middle-of-the-field throws could become game-breaking plays. Short passes to the running backs also have to be part of the formula. Harris and Warren are capable receivers, and dumping it off underneath can turn into chunk yardage when linebackers overcommit. Pair that with hard play action, and suddenly those same linebackers are caught guessing. The result? Open windows for bigger gains downfield. The hook? If the Steelers blend quick passes and play action, this offense can finally find its rhythm. In short, Pittsburgh's success depends on balance and creativity. Beat man coverage, run with purpose, and exploit pressure with smart throws. Do that, and the Steelers have a real shot at taking control of this matchup.